Hello and welcome to episode 206 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. It is Dex and Punk for you today, talking you through everything Sheffield Wednesday. But before we do that, because it is a podcast and you two were getting, well, Jack was getting very annoyed last week. We do, believe it or not, talk about our week and a bit about ourselves. So to add some personality to the podcast, you can always skip ahead if you want to. But if you're a long-time viewer of this podcast, you know what it's all about. I'm on audio today. We've got a guest. So the guest room is, the office is currently full of things. So I didn't really want to go on camera with it. But Jake, before anything else, how's your week been, mate?
It's not been too bad. I'm at that point where I'm ready for the weather to change. I'm ready for just, when you get to that bit at the start of the year where things are going to start turning weather-wise, but you also know things are going to start turning a little bit in your life in that sense. Because it's my daughter's last year at this primary school. We're trying to get the other one into a nursery because he likes hitting people, which is something I don't want to deal with when he's 3.
What year's your daughter in?
Year 2.
Oh, okay, so she's in an infant school at the minute.
Yeah, she's in an infant.
Yeah, because I was like, you said last year of primary school.
I think I did say last year of primary. Yeah, she's not that yet. Thank God. We're just trying to everything's starting to get on the turn. I'm trying to get things sorted around the house and just try and do stuff. But I got obsessed, like I was telling you before, and I'm watching a lot of agricultural farming YouTube channels, and I think it's because I'm obsessed with playing farm sim because I'm sad. Had a little bit of a play of Civ 7, but I haven't got.
I've not bought it yet. I've resisted.
I have not got time to have that kind of time sink yet, and that's the reason why I haven't done as much of it. I need to wait until I've got a couple of hours in an evening where I can just
That's why I've held off as well, because I'm like, I need to be productive. I'm already got enough games that I'm using in my free time. I don't need Civ, because Civ goes on and then nothing else happens.
Yeah. It's kind of why I'm kind of glad FM has completely been delayed now, because that would have been a time.
Well, it's been cancelled, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah,
FM25 has been cancelled.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they come back out of that one. FM26, they've got to hit the ground running with that. But how's your week been?
I think they're going to need to take I think the fact they've got a Game Pass deal is going to probably help them survive it. If they didn't have that, I reckon they'd be in trouble, because they go release to release usually in terms of the sales.
And they're one game studio.
Yeah, exactly.
But how's your week been?
Oh yeah, well it's been there's been a lot going on, but we obviously wasn't on the podcast last weekend because it's been Soph's birthday. We did some birthday stuff over with her family and things like that. Lots of work on, lots of things to plan for, things like that coming up. But it's a case of, again, every time now I'm just trying not to sound disingenuous because of Sophie pulling me up on it when asking.
It's always your mouth that pulls you up on something, and it's always like, you get really self-conscious going, how do you know?
But we had a couple of meals. I was a bit under the weather for a bit because I've not spoken to you for a fortnight, have I? No. Then obviously keeping up to date with all the Wednesday and stuff. I watched the match actually at Soph's family's, the other match where I was very annoyed and very ranty on Twitter, as you did comment on the last podcast. But then also, when I have had some free time, I am well and truly into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know Jack mentioned that last week. He's been playing it as well. I loved the first one. The second one is even better, probably.
I do love how you can go up to just a set of people and you can't just creep up. They actually turn around and be like, who are you? What are you doing here? I think the actual way of being able to interact with people is so clever.
It's very hard. It's very strategic. Some of it is very frustrating. Some of it needs ironing out. There's a section where you're meant to chase someone on a horse. And if you've not got a horse that's fast enough, you'll automatically fail the mission. So you have to load a previous save. That's for me almost like, how has that got through Q&A?
Yeah.
In certain situations, but that's quite late into the game, to be fair. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I really enjoyed the first one, as I said. And it's one of those games you've got to have time for and patience for. Like I came home from work the other day really tired and I was like, I cannot play this game because my brain cannot get round it. I think I'm quite close to the end now, actually. I was playing it a little bit before this podcast and I'm in like what feels like a final battle. So we'll find out. But that's all that's all that sort of stuff that I've been doing in my free time and just... Yeah, as you say, it's already mid-February. This month's going really quick. February is obviously a short month. This year's starting to get fully underway, and it's just planning for the rest of it now. Might have a couple. Well, I've definitely got one trip coming up, potentially a second trip, which is potentially the biggest trip I've ever been on in the plans. So we're just trying to sort all of that and just have things to look forward to with everything. But yeah. Sheffield Wednesday aren't giving us much on that because of the referees mainly, and the fact we should have probably signed a centre back and didn't, and probably should have signed a striker and didn't. But yeah, let's talk about that then. So since we've seen each other, Jake, since we've last done a podcast, you and Jack last week, we've had Swansea. Yep. So we'll talk about Swansea first before we go into the Coventry match. So talk me through Swansea.
I think Swansea was a decent-ish game. I think we let them have a lot of the ball and then try and nick it and just try and have that kind of attack where you let them have a ball, let them make the mistake and see what we can do, because they had a couple of those mistakes. Like Ugbo nearly got on the end of one. He did really well to set Josh up. And you got to remember, this was our first game in a long time without any Barry Bannon because he was injured. And I think it was one of those things where you looked at it and you're going, right, he's injured. How are we going to do? Because we said on this podcast for many, many, many times we need to learn to play without Barry Bannon. And I think we did okay. I think Josh stepped up as a captain. I actually see Josh as a captain. I don't know if anyone else
nowadays
agrees.
I do, yeah. Yeah, more and more.
That one. I think he's starting to mature into that kind of player. And you were just looking at the game and it was like, something got to give, because I don't think we were particularly bad, but I also don't think Swansea were that good. I think both teams kind of cancelled each other out. No, but
do you know what worries me? We got our goal. Parts of that game were very even. Swansea weren't very good, as you said. We weren't probably at our best, but we played okay. Our goal came from a mistake. Yeah. Good finish, and you have to capitalise on those opportunities. But again, it just shows that I'm glad we held on with that.
We didn't create it. We had to just make them make the mistake to get it. And then...
Well, you've got to say, yeah, we do create it if you're putting the pressure on and you've got to be in the position for it. You know, if you're not making those runs, if you're not putting the pressure on, it doesn't happen. But it wasn't like we'd carved out the chance there. But yes, through a mistake, we did get a goal and it was a good finish from Smith. I quite like the way Danny Rull is managing the games, to be fair. He's putting players on to finish games off.
What do you think? What do you think with Michael Smith? Do you think he's the impact player now instead of being a starter? Or do you think it's one of those ones where...
Yeah, because actually, I think everyone's talking about we've spent £3 million on Ugbo to score goals. Yes, we did that. It's clearly not working. So what Ugbo is quite good at is pulling defenders out of position, running them a bit ragged. He's not got the confidence in front of goal, so I don't think we can rely on him to that. But for me, having him on the pitch, I do think we play better as a unit with Ugbo in the side, rather than having Smith in there. And when Smith comes in, we've gotten to a point usually where they're shattered, and then there's the deadly finishes there. I think that's what's making Smith thrive, to be honest, even though he'd want to start games.
Yeah, I think for me, if you look at it, 5 of his goals he's got 8 goals and 5 of them are off the bench. And it says a lot about what he's trying to do. I think Gassama's just getting better and better each game as well. But I think when you look at the whole Smith-Ugbo debate, people get rubbed the wrong way because there's a lot of people say, why did we spend 2.5 million to 3 million quid on Ugbo? And complain about it. But at the end of last season, you would have saw that as a good buy. It's just because
it was a good buy. Hindsight can't be pulled into these things, right? Because at the end of the day, there is still a chance Ugbo gets back to that level. Players can have a bad season, right? Players can also have a one-off season where they're quite good. But Ugbo did work in that system. You know, the way we created chances last year, I do feel like when Ugbo's on the pitch, he does feed off very little. Yeah. And then the chances fall to other players better than him. But again, it might be because when Ugbo's on the pitch, players are drawn to him, and he rags them about a bit. He gets them running, gets them knackered. Then Smith comes on and he exploits the opportunities. So
I tell you who we've.
I'm not one to slate him unnecessarily. Yeah. Yes, he should be scoring goals, but I think in the system we are playing at the minute, I'd rather us start with Ugbo and finish with Smith.
Yeah. I tell you who did do well in this game and really impressed me was Ingelsson. Ingelsson got such an engine on him, hasn't he? You don't realise what his engine he got and his strength. I think for me, when you watch him play, it's his strength more than anything, that he can just hold about 2 players off and then have someone come in and help. And we said we'd like to see a bit more of Ingelsson. And I think he's one of the players who need to have game after game after game. You can't just put him in here and there. I think he's one of those players who definitely need to have game time consistently. And the thing is, one of the things I did have at this one, we all had that sinking feeling at the very end of this game that we blew it. Thankfully, it was offside.
Yeah, with the offside goal. Yeah, I thought that. I was ready to be like, oh, here we go again. But it was a very, very. Do you know what? We slate officials a fair bit, but that linesman got it spot on.
He did. He got it absolutely spot on. It was actually also nice to hear their gaffer turn around and said, "Ain't got a complaint. He got it spot on. It is what it is." And it's just one of the ones where you think, right, that's the away win we needed. Let's see if we can push on. But again, we know what we can do away from home is better than our home.
Yeah,
home.
And then you go to home, you go to Coventry, and to be honest, well, I've got very strong opinions on this game, Jake, but talk us through Coventry.
Ditto. I think for me, first half we were fantastic. Apart from the goal, and it was poor by Lowe to try and wrestle with, but again, he's not a natural centre-back. We're having to play players who are not a natural centre-back. The only natural centre-back is a Wickway because of Bichon being injured. We'll talk about that later. The issue you got is we attack really well. We play some good football. Ugbo got in some cracking positions. Their keeper, let's be honest, he had a blinder. He pulled off some really good saves in that game. But for me, the refereeing standard as a whole is just so poor. Like that cross Armstrong does and Grimes handballs it. Like, it's a clear handball. Like 100%
it's the
clear handball.
The foul on Charles for the penalty that didn't happen, you know. We should have had opportunities. You could argue that probably one of their goals that was disallowed was probably okay as well.
I think that
so it happened for both teams. Yeah. What I take from this game, and it's always difficult to say this when you've lost 2-1 because opposition fans will be like, you're talking crap. I think we were the better side.
Yeah.
I think we deserve more out of that. I think for most of that game, we'd have probably been annoyed with the point because we felt like we should have won it, and then we end up leaving with nothing. You know, we're leaving with nothing. So Coventry, it's just
it's frustrating.
Should we be making... Well, we should, shouldn't we? I'm answering my own question. We should be making better opportunities at home. We should be finishing our chances more at home. We should be making Hillsborough what it used to be. But this season, it's just been off.
The thing, you had 22 shots, 8 on target, and the goal we actually got isn't our goal because it's an own goal. We have enough chances in that game to put something to bed. Like generally, like 7 shots on target.
We also had a chance of going into the playoffs. If we had have won today, we would have gone into the playoffs.
Well, look at where Coventry are now.
Yeah, they're 1 point off the playoffs in 7th.
Yeah, it's irritating because we're there or thereabout, but I also have the thing where I keep saying I don't want to talk too much about playoffs, but we are near it.
No, I don't. Don't get me wrong. It's weird, isn't it? Because I feel like we aren't the best side, but I also think Huddersfield were probably one of the worst sides I've ever seen get promoted when they got promoted, right? Yeah. When they beat us. We threw that promotion away, and I'll always stand by that. They managed to build themselves on the platform of us just not turning up that day. Yeah. However, if weirder things have happened than if we scrape 6th, that we did a similar thing, because I wouldn't have faith in us doing it, but that would be the most Sheffield Wednesday way to do it. In positions where we should have done it, we do it when we really shouldn't.
Yeah,
you know?
And we also beat the teams that we shouldn't beat instead of beating the teams that are around us. Like, I get really...
We do beat the teams below us now, though, which is better than we were before. Yeah,
we do. It's frustrating, isn't it? Because you want to see when they had that dominance at home. You want to see us be able to make it a fortress. I think this was the best the crowd has sounded in a long time. I won't lie. The crowd looked like it was a lot better atmosphere than it has. Well,
we were riled up by the ref being absolutely atrocious, right?
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, man. I am, but again, I'm finding it hard to be angry, right? There's a lot of things that you can get annoyed at Sheffield Wednesday about, but at the start of the season, I would have been happy with us just staying up. And now we're 5 points off 50. We're on 45 points, man.
Yeah.
5 points away from that glorious 50, and we're only in February. You know, so we're actually going to be able to not worry.
My worry...
Really?
But my worry is the teams that we got coming up. The teams we got to play are your Burnley and Sunderland back-to-back. You've got Plymouth, which we should do okay, but they're starting to have a real resurgence of how they play. You've got Norwich midweek. You've then got the Derby, and then you've got Cardiff. These are games where you're looking at them going, we should, in theory, be able to get that 50-point mark and be happy. But there's just, I worry about the next 2 games more than I should, because I think it's a massive opportunity for us to potentially have a little bit of a stumble.
I think if Bannon stays fit now, because I would think we would be out without Bannon for a long time.
Yeah, same.
I think we don't have anything to worry about if he stays fit, because we will pick up points along the way. You know, in terms of getting dragged into a relegation battle, we are too good for that now. But I also think this team will go into, I think we could play anyone when we actually are on our day. The Derby, I'm probably going to write off before it happens. And I know a lot of Wednesday fans are pinning everything. They'll go, oh, we'll lose to the others if we beat them. No, just no, because like, I don't... Look, the top of the league, right? If we've ever got an excuse for them to do the double on us, it's this season. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's... Don't get me wrong. I'm not like saying I don't want to beat them. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in terms of like consistency, picking up points around that would make it better. It's going to be very difficult against Burnley. You know, Norwich, I fancy us, but you never know.
Plymouth, Norwich, I feel like we could get something. And Sunderland has had a bit of a drop-off recently.
Sunderland's also a case, you've got to think it's a Friday night game. We're at home. Yep. Maybe that's a case of it picks up. You know, it might end up being that way.
Yeah.
But they're both Friday night games, actually, Burnley and Sunderland. And then, as you said, we've got Plymouth. And it's Plymouth away, and we do better away.
Plymouth away on a Saturday, which is nice, because normally Plymouth away is normally like midweek.
Yeah. And then, no, it's good. That is actually a big point, because it'll give us time to recuperate.
Yep.
Norwich, you'd hope we'd get something. United is take it or leave it. It's just it's one of those. We don't have the players that they've got, but we also...
The international break will be good for the club as well and the players, because I think it'll need that little bit of a break they need. Then after that, you've got Cardiff, which they're scrapping at the minute, and that's away.
But again, it's away. I feel we're better away.
We've got Hull on the 5th at home.
You'd hope we'd do that, because Hull have been...
Yep. Blackburn atrocious. Rovers on the 8th. On the one on the 5th, I think I'm going to that one with Jack. I don't know if you're busy on that one. Let us know.
Which one?
The 5th of April.
Hull.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Because we've never been to a game, us three, have we?
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah, we might be able to do that.
We got Oxford on the 12th at home. It's like I'm looking at the home games and going, where are the away games? That's really bad.
Yeah. My April's mad, but actually, Jake, I might be able to make that work. So just remind me in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah. But it is that situation. You're looking at the games and you're going, there's a lot of winnable games there.
There's no way, I don't want to say it, don't want to jinx it, but it's very unlikely we're going to get dragged into relegation, right? But it's also a case of like, we are looking up more than we're looking down now. Yeah. And I do feel, again, it comes down to that January window of 2 more signings. You think if we'd have just brought someone in, like...
Ironically, the person who gave the ball to Josh Windass apparently one of the people he wanted.
Who was that, sorry?
Harry Darling.
All right, great.
He's out of contract.
But like, even looking at Ellis Sims at Coventry today and stuff like that, I'm like... I don't think he's necessarily lit the league up, but he looked all right against us. You know, he looked like probably one of their players that would do something.
Yeah, but he plays like Gary Hooper style player who's in the box and a poacher and just is annoying.
Yeah.
And we don't have that.
No, we don't. We brought Ugbo in to be that poacher, you know, and it's not working. So I think Ellis Sims would have been decent for that, to be honest, because, you know.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He seemed all right, but yeah, I'm just not. I've not got. Do you know? It's nice. It's a nice feeling, Jake. Even off the back of a loss, and I'm disappointed. It's nice not to have that feeling of dread that I often have had in the past few years. Mate.
Yeah. The thing is, I think anyone who said mid-table this season's a disappointing season is stupid after what we said last season. Because with what happened,
can we just go through the stats for Coventry, man? 22 shots to their 9, 8 shots on target to their 4 is part of the problem because we had 7 shots off target to their 1, 7 block shots, 5 attempts out of the box, 3 offsides, tackle. No, we won't go into the tackle stats, but let's also talk about Beadle. A lot of the talk here has come about Beadle.
Yep.
He's at fault for the second goal. Yeah. Right?
Both second goals,
true.
Technically.
He comes out and he tries to catch it. He misses the catch and then he tries to attempt to punch and he just loses all control of it.
Yeah.
Stop, Wednesday fans that are doing it. Stop. He is a young keeper that is going to make these mistakes. Yeah. Right? If you actually look, right, people say, oh, he's no better than Dawson, blah, blah, blah. He is, right? Okay. He is better than Dawson. And also, it's a case of, I believe Beadle is he still 18?
He's 19. I think he's 20 now.
19. So if we say he's no better than this and this, we always think of like, he's 20 now. Sorry, James Beadle. Yeah. No better than Dawson. And Dawson, like people say that and say, well, Dawson was our young prospect. Do you know how old Dawson is?
He's 29, 30.
Yeah. Yeah. He's he was born a couple of months out from me, mate. Right? So and it's like, so Dawson isn't like our young, I can't call myself if I was in football, I wouldn't be able to call myself a young prospect anymore,
you mean
mate.
Like how they used to call Harry Kane at like 26, 27, the young prospect every season?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But Beadle is very young. Okay.
These are the reasons
he's
why
going to make these mistakes.
On loan, though. This is why he's out on loan.
Wildsmith did very, very well when we played him the other day. Oh, yeah, he's 29, right? He's coming into his own now. He's coming into the time where some keepers do find it. Beadle is a young talent that's going to make these mistakes. What's annoying me is people aren't talking about the fact he probably
kept us in it.
The save that he made about 5 minutes before kept us in the game. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, he's done so many saves this season in games that have kept us in games, and people have forgotten. It's like, and the thing is, if Charles had done the same thing, would you be then going, oh, Ben Hamer in net now, Ben Hamer in net now? Would it be the same thing?
I can't remember what performance it was, but Shea Charles had one performance. Not Shea Charles. God, it's weird having both Charleses. Pierce Charles had one performance in the Cup where he worried me a little bit, and I was like, oh, actually, I could see if he had a few performances.
Was that his game against Hull or Grimsby where he kicking at the first half was a bit...
Yeah, and there was one game I remember there was a couple of games where he was solid. There was one where I was like, oh, if he played like that in the league, our fans would be on him straight away. And he's our keeper, right? I do believe Piers Charles will most likely be our number one next season.
Oh, 100%.
But you wait. You give Beadle his season here, right? Because he's deserved that.
Yep.
And then we look towards the end of the season of, right, this is the step up time now. And we potentially look at bringing in an older keeper for the experience, like we tried with Hamer, but that obviously, Hamer's not even in the squad now. So,
Hamer's a weird one. I think that injury he had completely knocked him completely. And it's just
I think it's retired him, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which happens. But, right. Oh my God, Jake, how old is the template you've used here? It says League One review.
Oh, it's really old. I just couldn't be bothered to change it today. I normally change. The thing is, I need to make...
copy and paste the new template.
Yeah, I just completely forgot.
It's all right. We won't do the midweek fixtures, but let's do the weekend fixtures. It's QPR 4, Derby County 0. After Derby County getting John Eustace as their manager after his departure from Blackburn. I was hearing some things earlier, actually, that he only jumped ship because he really wasn't happy with the way everything was ran at Blackburn, basically. Yeah. And I've heard that a lot, to be fair. So, Preston 0, Burnley 0, Oxford 0, Portsmouth 2, Cardiff 1, Bristol City 1, Hull City 1, Norwich 1. A lot of 1-1s. Yep. Blackburn Rovers 2, Plymouth Argyle 0. So, Blackburn with no manager getting a bounce there.
Yep.
They're apparently looking at
Lee Carsley?
Rob O'Neill, is it?
Was it Robert?
Not Rob O'Neill.
Rob O'Neill. No, yeah. No.
What's his name? It's not Rob O'Neill. It's the guy at Wolves. Gary O'Neill?
Gary O'Neill. Is he the Wolves women team manager? Or it's something like that now. The new job is the women team manager.
Eh?
Yeah, I'm sure that's his role at the minute.
Well, no, he was the Wolves manager.
Yeah, but I'm saying he got a job at the minute where he's the women team manager.
I can't see that on his record, but you heard about Gary O'Neill here?
Yeah. I'm sure I read somewhere that it was the women's team.
I can't see that, but yeah.
I could be wrong.
Unless he was going in and helping out. But yeah, I know he's linked with Blackburn anyway. So that could be, he could be the manager by the time we end up playing them as well. So if he might have some time to get them sorted if he goes in there. Wednesday 1, Coventry 2, Millwall 1, West Brom 1, Luton 0, United 1. To be fair, Luton haven't been great, so United just getting the 1 goal there.
Yep.
Stoke 3, Swansea 1, Middlesbrough 0, Watford 1. So a lot of draws in the Championship. It puts United at Sheffield United at the top of the league with 70 points. Leeds United in second with a game in hand, but on 69 points. Burnley third on 65. Fourth is Sunderland, 62. Blackburn fifth on 51. So they are in the playoffs, even though the manager's just left them.
By the way, remember when Middlesbrough were a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, Middlesbrough were in the playoffs, and we'll get there. So West Brom 6th on 48. Coventry now on 7th with 47. Bristol City in 8th with 46. Wednesday in 9th with 45. Watford also joint 9th technically, but 10th with 45 points as well. Middlesbrough and Norwich and QPR 11th, 12th, 13th, all on 44 points. So there is still so much to play for with dropping in and out of those positions there. And then we look towards the bottom of the league. Hull City are just 1 point above the relegation zone with 30 points. The relegation 3 currently sit Derby County on 29 points, Plymouth Argyle on 28, and Luton Town on 27. If I was to make a prediction just off now, I would think that Plymouth might just manage to survive it, but I still think they could go down. My solid bet for now would probably be Hull, Derby and Luton, but it could also go down.
I still think Cardiff and Stoke will get pulled into this.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It could quite easily be something like Cardiff, Luton and Plymouth or Stoke, Luton. I don't think Luton are going to survive. I don't think I've seen anywhere near enough.
And they're going to have parachute payments in League One.
I know, that's crazy, that, isn't it?
Yeah. You look from about Preston onwards, anyone could get those playoffs. Even at a puff, maybe Oxford, but I think it's a bridge too far. But from about Preston, anyone goes on
41 points.
They can get in that playoff spot.
Yeah.
Mental.
This league is just so poor this year.
Can we just talk about Burnley's 9 goals conceded?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Burnley have been very, very solid. And they'll probably feel outdone by if they don't get automatics because they've been a very solid unit. But again, you wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs, would you?
No.
Because of that.
I think the thing is that solid at the back, they just don't have a real goal scorer.
True. Right, let's get into some news. So since we've last spoke, Deschamps Bernard has had surgery. He's out for the season by the looks of it. It's been a successful surgery. But Jake, how big a blow is this?
Oh, it's a massive
not just for Sheffield Wednesday, but for your draft.
My draft is out the window because I thought I had a solid one.
You do have Hatsui though.
True.
That's true.
I think it's gutting for the player though, but my worry is it's surgery on a knee at 24. When you start having surgeries on knees, it can sometimes be the start of knee after knee after knee kind of situation. If it's a good surgery, it goes fine, you can be fine and carry on. But when you start having to repair a knee, especially when you're a defender, he might have to change how he plays when he gets back. He might have to change his style because when you look at how he did it, it wasn't a tackle. He just put his foot down and it went. Like something.
Yeah, I think it could be a studs in the grass sort of thing, though, mate. And a sort of a jolt, and that would pull, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think he just needs to be managed well, right? At the end of the day, like
we do
I wouldn't want to rush him back. You are?
We do that better now, though.
Yeah, that's true. We look after our players. And the thing is, he's signed a long-term deal with us now. Yeah. So we want to protect him. We want him to come back and be strong. So the fact he's young is beneficial to his recovery, you'd think.
I'd say we probably don't see him till middle of September, early October. If it's about August time, they're saying he might be back.
I could see him joining in pre-season. He might be back for pre-season, but it wouldn't be a case of like sometimes people recover and they try and rush them back towards the end of the season. I wouldn't want that for him.
No, I think the thing is, which is really good. I think you should read the quote from Danny. We've got a manager that knows about injuries.
Yeah, Danny basically said to the Star, it's his first operation and you never know what it means. From my experience, the first one is always a little bit strange. You have the first one, you have it for the first one, the drugs and all these feelings. When you have more surgeries, you get used to it, but the first one is always nervous. Let's see how it works and what they find. We will support him and we will find a solution. So yeah, it's just, it depends on how he takes to it, really. And then you've got an unclear sort of situation with Barry Banning because he played today, but we thought it might be a longer injury.
Heavily strapped up from about the knee downwards. So God knows what he's done, unless he's just gone, look, I can play, I can run on it, just painkilling me up. But according to what I heard a lot of people say today, and I've spoken to people about it, this is something he's had since November time. So
right, okay.
He's been playing through a lot of pain, and we know what Barry will do. Now, the thing is, it makes you go, will there be a surgery once we have the end of the season for Barry to fix something? He's just going to play till the end of the season.
No, maybe, which I would want for him, but I feel Barry's going to do one of them things where he'll play through it until he retires, and he'll be here till the end of next season, and then he'll retire. And it'll be one of those things he keeps topped up on.
Yeah.
And he retires on it and gets properly sorted afterwards. Because I think if Barry looks at it and it's a surgery that would take like a time, he'd drag himself through another season.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that's something he should do. I think if he feels like he can come back for it, but at his stage of his career, it might it's going to be hard for him to come back from a surgery, you'd think.
Yeah.
So there's going to be all that on his mind. Whatever decision he makes, I just hope it's not serious and he can do exactly what he wants to do, because he deserves to go out at Sheffield Wednesday on his own terms, and I don't want an injury to bring that.
Definitely.
You know?
And I think the thing is, while he's in this position, Wednesday need to be having plan A, plan B, plan C ready for when that does happen. Because I actually think Ingelsson, again today, looks really good. I was a bit gutted when he went off, but I understand why he went off. And I think Ingelsson got that role, but we would have to change a little bit how we played, if that makes sense. I think a midfield of Bannon, Armstrong, Ingelsson next year could be really good.
Well, the thing is, we did a clever thing in getting Armstrong on a permanent.
Yeah.
You know, so we've brought in a player in that midfield that can shoulder some of the responsibility really with it. One
of the things I keep getting is that people keep going like, I spoke about Gassama maybe being our player that we're able to sell down the line as a big profit and stuff like that. And people go, well, spend that 15 to 20 million on Shea Charles. No, that 15 to whatever we got for him, you use to build a team. You don't get it on one player. We've done this before. Let's not do things like that. If
or three very good players that would be good for this level. You know, like if you got 15, 20 million, you spread that across three players, and even if one of them comes good, you'll get the 20 million back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that's the way to do it. But yeah, we've had some outgoings. We've had Sam Reed join Scarborough on loan.
You were meant to be my young player of the season.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
That's fun.
He was my hot player to do really well this season again.
And there's also been some questions around why our new signing, Rio, is it Rio or Rio?
It's Leo. Leo Hatsu.
Okay. Hatsu has not been playing. Speaking to the Star, Roll said, we had one player with a question mark, and when you have a long journey, we decided to take one more player. This was important. Rio has started to train, and it is the same as Ibi as well. That's Sissoko. Now they need minutes to get rhythm to raise the intensity. We have to manage Stewie at the moment. It's always an honest conversation with these players and their minutes, whether they can be a starter. We will have to bring the flow next couple of weeks. We can chat. Next couple of weeks, we can challenge. Jesus. We want everybody to be on the level after the international break, and we say in those final games, everyone has the same motivation to carry on. Basically, he's not match fit.
No. My thing is, for the people saying, bring in a free agent, central defender, we probably don't see them till April. They're not going to come in straight away. I get the idea of bringing in a free agent centre-back, but how much game time have they had? The last thing you want to do is throw in a player in and then realising they're not fit.
Yeah, you don't want to give them a contract, and then you could have someone training with us now.
Yeah.
And for the last half push of the season, you could potentially give them in the March international break, organise a couple of friendlies, and
which we are doing.
Get them in. Yeah. That could be a tactic there, but
Dom and
Jake, I'm not going to drag this podcast out any longer than it needs to be honest, mate, because
no need.
There's not too much to talk about this week. We've obviously got Burnley coming up. I think that's on my list to stream, so come and see that. I'm sure that'll be a fun stream, but how are you feeling heading into that one?
I don't know. It was the one where if we can play how we do away from home, we could pick something up, but we're going to have to be very, very good because Burnley are solid. Their home record is 8-8-0, 32 points. If we could be the one to put that one there, fantastic. But they are very, very defensively strong, and we have to make any chances we have count. We got to have a game where if we have 4 chances, 3 of them have got to be on target and 1 of them's a goal.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to start finishing our dinner, basically. Burnley are solid. It's going to be rough, but join us for Dexterity Watch for that one. And in terms of Talking Wednesday, we will see you this time next week. So take care, guys. If Jake's got nothing to add before we end, obviously.
Nothing
Nothing this week. So take care, guys, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.